Well, I can't believe this happened, although I'm really happy that it did. At the end of the Geppetto video, I had mentioned something along the lines of like, boy, it would be really cool, or maybe it was in the beginning of the video, if we had some like lore or flavor text for the final girl on the card or something. Boy, that would be really neat. They thought of this, and I'm just an idiot. It's one of those situations where you get this giant box from Kickstarter. You look at all this beautiful stuff. You just admire the art. You don't want to mess anything up, so you're sleeving cards and punching out all these little tokens and everything very carefully. And you don't really know where anything goes, right? You have a rough idea. You're just kind of fitting things where they can fit. You know that in this case, anyway, with Final Girl, all the stuff in one box belongs in that box. But then there's a rule book here, a rule book there, a little book that holds like bonus stuff. You're like, oh, okay, well, what goes in here? And you just shove stuff in, not really thinking about it at the time, and then the game sits on the shelf for a little bit until you have a chance to play it. And then what happens? You forget what's in that box. You don't necessarily need it, of course, most of the time. So I finished playing, against Geppetto, and thought, well, let's go see what the vignette is, Terror from Above. What did I do with it? Well, I didn't keep them in the little tiny box they come in here, right? This little tiny box won't hold sleeved cards. So, what are you to do? I gutted it, I guess. I kept the box. I flattened it, is what happened, right? So I took everything out, sleeved the cards, flattened the box, and I shoved it into the bonus features box. That way I didn't have to throw it away. I mean, I guess I'll never use it, but, it's I really like the art and everything that has to do with this game. Like, I even kept the sheets that came on the back of the feature films, and they didn't quite fit wherever they I don't remember what I did with them now, but I had trimmed them down like just a little bit to keep them somewhere. And then I thought they were in this box, so maybe I have got, or maybe I think they're in the core box actually. Okay, so anyway, this will hold other things. If you look at this box, this holds all kinds of stuff, right? Okay, so what is this stuff? Well, I know I don't have these, the gruesome death books. These are available as PDFs on the Van Ryder Games website, and these are seriously good books. They're super long, and they have a lot of information in there, and it's per location. So it's Hans at Camp Happy Trails, and there's like 5 pages of that, and then it'll be the Poltergeist at Camp Happy Trails, and there's 5 pages of information on that and story and whatnot, and then there's Inkanyamba at Camp Happy Trails, and there's 7 pages of that. Super cool, totally for free. You can get those PDFs on their website. I don't have a physical copy of it, which is a super bummer. I wish I would have known to even think to look for this stuff. Then there is the the feature film rulebook, which I do have, which is super cool. This whole time I've been kind of using those little sheets that come in it, but this is just all of the rules in one book. You'll notice here's Terror from Above on the last page, and lo and behold, there's the PDF of it that I've been using this whole time. Came from this book. How convenient. Man, this would be great to, had I remembered that this existed. So then, and here's the real dig. Here's what I'm really upset with myself for. This is the book that I wish I would have remembered that existed when I started this whole thing, because how sweet is this? This is a 62-page book with an introduction about like the development, the team, and everything, and their design ideas. And then look at this. Look at all that information about Hans. Come on, look at this. Look at how awesome that is. I really wish I would have remembered that this existed. And then they give you a scenario for every situation, right? So here's Hans at Camp Happy Trails, Night of the Pig. And it tells you what final girl to use, what setup card to use, what items to use even, what event cards, and then which of the terror cards from which set to use. It tells you what dark power and what finale card to use, and if there are any additional special rules. You could play this game for a year. I promise you I will not, as much as I want to. You look at this. Hans in Creech Manor. Hans in Sacred Groves. And look at special rules. Place the girlfriend event card from Camp Happy Trails above the board and place her special victim meeple in the attic space. And the name of this is Slaughterhouse. It's just so good. I wish I would have known I had this, right? Here's the Poltergeist. Some details. Look at this. 1912, 1957, 1981, and then here's scenarios the same way that it was for Hans, right? Poltergeist, Creech Manor, Ghost Hunters. It's just incredible. Chaos at the camp. Only the gods can help her, right? And anyway, it goes for everybody, okay? For everybody. Here's Inkanyamba, right? The dark-haired demon, the unforgivable betrayal. Oh my good. I mean, what is this? That's craziness. Oh, wow. Yeah, this is super cool. Master of ceremonies for Geppetto at the camp. That's so cool. And then, so I'm flipping through this thing. Oh, that's pretty sweet. They've got everything in here. And then there's even a terror from above thing. Look at all that. Look at all that. You could just completely immerse yourself in this. And then if I remember right, and I might be wrong here, go to the Kickstarter page. They were talking about releasing music for this game too, I think. Also would have been great to have. So there's, here's the birds at camp, happy trails, a special scenario. Every location, terror in the groves. They did a whole special thing for everything if you wanted to get all into the story of this. Just phenomenal. And then this is exactly what I was looking for and wanted and didn't realize I had it. I've been sitting 5 feet away from it. And here it is. Here's the little background stories about all the final girls and even a tip for playing with each of them. Look at this. Just incredible. So what a moron. I wish I had realized that this existed and that I had it. This I did not see on the website for downloads. This was something that I must have paid for in the Kickstarter. Maybe that's what came in this box, this little bonus. I don't even remember what it came with now or where I got it, but there it was. That's too bad. So anyway, let's get on to talking about the actual birds here, the terror from above here, as you can see. So we have a PDF here. Of course we do. We just figured that out with all the special rules. And this is really weird because there's no killer. It is just the birds. They are just minions. And it has 3 different difficulty levels. The way you win is by rescuing the special victims. And so if you set the goal of rescue 1 victim, that's easy. Rescue 2 special victims, that's medium. And then hard would be 3. And those are, the colored meeples that you've seen, in your box and whatnot. These guys, these are the special victims here. So special victims only come out of hiding when one of the following conditions occurs, right? So you either unlock your ultimate ability, I keep calling it epic ability, or there's no more victims on the board, right? So everybody's been killed, and then the special victims come out, and now you have to save them. Special victims, and this is very important, can never be attacked or killed, but otherwise they're treated like normal victims, meaning, it sounds like they panic and all that. So how you lose immediately if there are 3 birds on every space of the board, or if you die. The birds themselves have 1 hit point. They do 1 point of damage each, and they do not move. Now, the thing to know about these, when I say each, and the reason why I emphasize that is you can have, remember, up to 3 birds in each space, and on the back side of the tokens, you have a little 3-bird icon, so you don't have to have 4 billion little tokens floating around your board there. Now, spawning birds. This seems like it's going to happen so frequently. So every time you run across the travel icon, the little boot icon, or the bird foot icon, roll 2 dice and follow the instructions on the bird spawn card, which is this little guy right here. Okay, and what this says is, and this is cool because you have some agency over how these birds spread. So you roll 2 dice. Let's say you have a 1 and a 6. So you get to choose, do I spawn 6 birds or 1 bird? But then the other number is where they spawn, and that is according to this chart. That's how that works, okay? So if you roll a 6 and a 1, do you spawn 6 birds distributed in any spaces, or do you spawn 1 bird in your space, right? So you get to kind of, control the spread of these nasty little guys, which is cool. And you can never have more than 3 birds in one space, and so what happens is you would then, like Pandemic, I hate to say it, like that gets thrown around a lot whenever a game has some kind of like a mass spawning and spread mechanism, I guess, but it's easiest to know for board gamers, of course. You would move to the next space. So if I have 3 birds here and 1 is supposed to spawn there, I would move to a spot that doesn't have 3 yet and spawn that bird there. Pretty crazy stuff. And birds will always spawn at least once per round. If you take a look at their, like essentially their killer card here on their finale card, it tells you they attack and then they spawn. And so that's going to happen every single round. And we'll take a look at these cards too in a minute. Bird attacks. So they had to, manipulate the rules a little bit here because obviously having just minions is a lot different than having a main killer running around. So when resolving the attack icon, an attack will take place in the space with the final girl as long as there's at least 1 bird, and in every space with 3 birds, unless otherwise noted. Okay, so that's a great way, for victims to die. That's going to be hard to remember too, is that you are always attacked if there's a bird there, and then every 3 birds is going to attack no matter what. Birds attack 1 target in their space, dealing damage equal to the number of birds in the space, which is good. That means they won't, kill 5 people 3 people all in one go. Birds always prioritize normal victims over the final girl if both are in the same space. Birds in a space can be attacked, and you can remove one bird per damage dealt. Okay, so that's good. And remember, they're minions, so I can do 3 points of damage and wipe out 3 birds. And then they had to, manipulate these rules a little bit. So these are kind of changes to the main rules of the game here. When the birds attack, the final girl can use a reaction card to prevent damage to anyone in her space. Normally, you can't use reaction cards unless you're the one being attacked. However, to protect a victim, all damage must be prevented, as it only takes 1 damage to kill a victim. Event cards that require 1 or more special victim meeples to be used should be ignored, right? So if you draw like the girlfriend card or the fiance or whatever, you draw the boyfriend, just chuck it and grab another card, right? Because you're obviously using those special victim meeples for the main, how to win. And then this is where it gets a little murky here. So it may happen that an event card doesn't make sense or work with terror from above. If this occurs, you could ignore it or draw another one. I love the idea of driving the golf cart into a pack of birds and killing 3 of them. Some items might be useless against the birds. For example, the bear trap at Camp Happy Trails. So if you don't like that, you can remove those and replace them when they come up. However, sometimes you just find useless things, and our preference is that you just have to deal with that adversity. Some terror and event cards refer to the killer. There is no killer, as the birds are minions. In these instances, do the following. So if a card specifies for the killer to move, spawn birds instead. So that would be, roll on this thing. And then if a card specifies for the killer to be placed somewhere, you just place 3 birds. So that's going to be a little hard to remember as well, right? So if it's saying killer move, and not just like the boot icon, because that's just going to be spawn. This is like, a terror card says move the killer 1 space wherever, you would do a bird spawn. And if the killer specifies for the killer to be placed somewhere, so remember like Geppetto, I remember could like teleport, depending on the terror card, that would be place 3 birds in that spot. So wow. That's crazy, and I see how that can get out of hand really, really fast. So let's take a look at the cards. There's only 5 cards here, right? So they're all the same. That's why I stacked them up like this. So you can see this here. That is, instead of spawning birds as normal, roll 1 die and place that many birds in the nearest searchable area. And of course, increase horror, which is wild. Look at their card power here, right? Look at that. Every single turn, something bad happens, or every time Bloodlust increases, something bad happens, and there's only 5 levels of it. So, wow. Okay. I still don't know to consider. This has to be level 0. This came up on some other playthrough, and I guess I would consider it level 0, but I feel like that's cheating. Maybe it starts at 1 in this case. I don't know. There's probably some clarification. I'm sure there's a FAQ out there somewhere. Where are they coming from? If 3 or fewer birds, so spawn birds, and then if you spawn less than 3 birds, right? Fewer than 3 birds, then spawn more birds, right? Always good. It feels hopeless. So double horror. If there's at least 1 special victim in play, spawn more birds. Oh man. And then you do use the normal location things. I would have almost liked it if you didn't have that for some reason, because those cards are themed for the location. And I don't know if they're quite right. Well, we'll find out when I play. I don't know if they're quite right or not. They do have a dark power, so victims may not be saved if there are any bird tokens on the space. Each time a bird is killed, place a bird token on this card. When that card has 5 or more bird tokens on it, remove this card from the game. So victims cannot be rescued from a rescue point if there are any bird tokens on the rescue point spaces. So that's good to know. Not as bad as no spaces at all until that gets cleared, right? That's initially how I misread that card, because I don't know, I can't read. The birds are attacking, so attack in your space and all spaces where birds outnumber victims. If no attacks occurred, spawn more birds and increase the bloodlust. Oh man, so there is this PDF that we were looking through here. You don't necessarily need it. You do get cards that come in the box that explain all of those rules, just broken up nicely. So whether or not you have the feature film rulebook or not, you still get all of those rules. It's just way more convenient for me to press a button than have the PDF show up. Okay, and then what else do we have here? We have dark powers. So there are 3 dark powers. 1, 2, and 3. There they are. Run for your life. They're just waiting to strike during upkeep if there are 3 birds in your space. 2 horror. Fabulous. And Birdnado. That's fantastic. Okay. During upkeep, if there are 10 or more total birds in your space and adjacent spaces, lose 3 hit points. Oh, my goodness. So Melanie's going to have to fight for her life in here. Oh, this is crazy. Okay. And then we have the finale. Finale cards are right there, and right here. I love the art on all this stuff. Foul aggression. Look at this. Insurmountable odds. And you're spawning, you're attacking, and spawning again, right? That's crazy. What is Endless Swarm? This one looks like it's less bad, maybe. When moving into a space, you lose a hit point if there are 3 birds in that space. That might be the least bad one of the group, perhaps. When spawning birds, you must select the higher result for number of birds to place. And again, you're spawning birds twice. So I think movement is going to be key in this situation here, right? Those sprint cards are going to come in very handy. And that's all you have, right? Is 2 sprint cards and 2 walk cards. So you're not going to be able to move a whole lot unless you make good use of those cards. You're going to have to buy them every single round. So this is going to be quite the challenge, but it's pretty cool. I love, again, how they found a way to keep it fresh. The same system, and they're able to keep it fresh every situation. It's amazing. I can't wait for season 2. I was looking at it yesterday, and they have there was a Little Red Riding Hood one. The Big Bad Wolf is what it was, and then there's there's a take on The Thing and Alien. I don't even remember what the rest were now, but I was very impressed. I was sitting at dinner looking on my phone, looking at the Kickstarter that, of course, I bought a year ago and just forgot about. Didn't forget, but it's just like, well, I'm going to pay for 2-wave shipping so I can get this now. And I'm the guy who does not go to the Kickstarter comments. I don't bother to read most emails unless it's about the pledge manager and shipping stuff. I don't care. I'm just going to wait patiently and try not to get myself too excited because, shipping delays happen. And people are getting their Season 2 Final Girl stuff already. So I know it's happening, but I haven't received any kind of a shipping, label or anything yet at all. So it's any day now, I'm sure. And I can't wait to come back to this game because it's fantastic. And I will have to make an effort to do so when Season 2 comes around. But we'll be playing something else here during that time, so it might have to just sit on the back burner for a little bit. But excited to play. This is only $10 US dollars. I've seen it, $9.99 for sale. You can get it directly from the Van Ryder Games website and I don't know. It changes up the gameplay again. Oh, Melanie, can't forget our new final girl here, right? 2 hit points. She has minus a horror. Move up. Yeah, see, I knew it. Move up to 2 spaces, move 1 space, and take a guard reaction card. So that's cool. And then her ultimate ability, I'm actually kind of surprised it's not move 1 space for each additional victim saved. Once per action phase, you may lose a hit point to deal 2 damage divided as you choose among enemies in your space. That's awesome. Melanie's a beast. Just going down fighting. Yeah. So I don't know. It's pretty exciting. It does come with a miniature too. Well, this doesn't. It came in the box of miniatures. She does have her own miniature. Mini miniature. These are so small. So small. But really cool and useless for me to have with this overhead camera for you because they just look like gray circles and we wouldn't be able to tell them apart. So, all right. We will see you soon. Be good.